You ever get that feeling you're starring in the world's dumbest reality show, but nobody bothered to give you a script? That was me, first time homeowner, starry eyed, proud, and oh yeah, completely blindsided. If I'd known what was coming, I'd have run screaming in the other direction. But hey, hindsight's always a little too perfect, isn't it? Let me tell you how I got into a battle with my HOA that ended with a bulldozer rolling through what used to be my backyard. No, seriously, stay with me, this gets better. So picture this, I finally buy my first house. The place is, well, you know that feeling when you walk in and something just clicks. That's how it was. Friendly neighbors' yards with swing sets and wind chimes, the kind of street that feels like you ought to wave every time you pull in. I thought I'd made it. But there was this one little thing, the homeowners association. Now, if you've ever had to deal with one, you already know their rules are like those tiny print warnings on medicine bottles. They're always just a little annoying. Mostly it was stuff like, don't let your grass grow taller than a chihuahua, hide your trash cans before sunset, don't paint your mailbox neon green. Fine, whatever. I can play by the rules. That was the plan anyway. I kept my head down, paid my dues on time, thank you very much, and figured if I just did what I was supposed to do, I'd fly under their radar. But I must have missed the part in the manual about no good deed goes unpunished. Because, my friend, that's when things got weird. A couple months after moving in, I start getting these odd emails from the HOA, not the usual join us for the block party stuff. No, these were addressed to the event coordinator. And they were talking about booking vendors, picking out hors d'oeuvres, locking down dates for Grove View Manor. Now, I don't know what that sounds like to you, but to me it sounded like something out of a fancy British novel. Only thing is, Grove View Manor. That was news to me. I figured it was a wrong email, so I replied real polite, just letting them know, hey, you got the wrong person. Didn't even get a thank you. All I got back was, please stick to the approved vendor list. Further questions should be directed to the HOA board. What? I ignored it, chalked it up to the universe glitching out. Until about a week later, I start getting mail, actual mail, not email, fancy heavy envelopes. You know the kind gold embossing smells like someone spritzed it with overpriced perfume. Invitations to weddings, anniversaries, special events at Grove View Manor. My address clear as day right there on the invitations. So I'm standing there holding a stack of RSVPs for events I didn't plan in a house I'd just barely finished unpacking boxes in, and I'm thinking, am I losing my mind? I call the HOA president. Let's call her Karen. Yeah, I know the stereotype, but if the name fits, I say, Karen, I'm getting wedding invitations with my address. What's going on? She laughs, a sound that still makes my skin crawl, a kind of fake, chirpy, I'm in charge here laugh. Then she tells me in this syrupy voice that the previous owner used to rent out the house for parties and weddings and that my place's community designated name is Grove View Manor. Apparently this is all some charming neighborhood tradition, and oh yeah, it brings in lots of money for the HOA. You ever have a moment where you just can't even... That was mine. I said, look, I live here now. This isn't an event space. This is my home. That's when Karen drops the act. She gets all clipped and businesslike, tells me it's my duty to the community to continue this tradition, and the HOA bylaws let them use designated assets for fundraising. And my house, well, I'd apparently bought myself a fundraising venue. I spent the next hour flipping through my deed, my mortgage, every single document with my name on it. Not one word, not one about my home being public property or any HOA right to use it. You ever feel your hands start to shake, not from fear, but from pure disbelief? That was me. So I did what any rational, sleep-deprived adult would do. I called my lawyer, had her draft up the sternest letter we could legally get away with spelling it out for them. This is my home, not a ballroom. Stop advertising it. Cancel every event. If you so much as bring a folding chair onto my lawn, we're going to court. I thought that would be the end of it. I mean, if someone's lawyered up and you're bluffing, you fold, right? Oh, how naive I was. Next thing I know, picture this. I come home from work one Friday and there's a giant white tent in my backyard. Not just a tent, either tables, chairs, fairy lights, those ugly plastic covers on everything. People in black slacks setting up a buffet. A DJ unloading speakers, all on my grass, my sanctuary. I snapped. I called the police thinking this'll settle it. Turns out Karen's there too, already sweet-talking the wedding party. She waves some sketchy piece of paper in the officer's face, said it's an agreement from the previous owner. The cop looks at me, shrugs, says it's a civil matter, tells me if I want anything done, take it to court. In the meantime, there's a wedding scheduled on my property the next day, and the law is basically telling me, good luck with that. I didn't sleep that night. I just kept staring out the window watching strangers traipse through my yard. You know that weird numb feeling where you're so mad you're almost calm? That was me pacing, fuming heart pounding in my throat. Then somewhere around 3 in the morning the idea hit me. Maybe it was desperation. Maybe it was genius. Probably both. Out back I had this rickety old shed, original to the house, a total eyesore. Rusted hinges, half the roof caved in. My home inspector had even written in big bold letters, "Demolish ASAP." I'd been meaning to deal with it, but you know how it goes. Life gets in the way. So next morning I pick up the phone and find a demolition crew that does emergency work. The guy barely blinks. Says, "Sure, we can be there this afternoon, pricey, but I would have paid double at that point." The wedding was set for 3. Demolition crew said they'd be there at 2. At exactly 1:45, this monster of a truck rumbles down my street towing a bulldozer. The looks on the faces of the caterers priceless. I spot Karen power walking toward me, face the color of a tomato, left too long in the sun. She starts in, "You can't do this. We have an event, but I just show her the permit I'd pulled weeks ago just in case. Home improvement, Karen. On my property." You know when you feel so satisfied you almost want to clap for yourself? That was me right there. The bulldozer guy, let's call him Mike because he looked like a Mike, he was a true artist. He squeezed that machine right up to the edge of the big white tent, careful not to touch it, and just stared at me waiting for the go-ahead. I nodded and he revved the engine. If you've never seen a bulldozer in action, let me tell you it's loud. Like rattle your bones loud. Every thud, every screech of metal felt like karma slamming down on every smug community tradition in the neighborhood. That shed didn't stand a chance. Boards, splintered glass, shattered dust filled the air. Guests started arriving all decked out, walking up to what looked like a construction zone. The bride and groom pull up in a stretch limo, get out, take one look at the chaos, and just freeze. I almost felt bad. Almost. Karen was trying to yell, but the roar of the engine drowned her out. Guests scattered. Some tried to film it, probably hoping to go viral. The bride was crying, someone's grandma was cursing in 2 languages, and Mike, he just kept working steady as a heartbeat. By the time he was done, that shed was a memory, nothing but a pile of twisted metal and broken dreams. The tent, still standing, but now it was surrounded by a wasteland. The wedding was canceled, the caterers packed up their half-made canapes, and the happy couple started arguing on the sidewalk, voices echoing up and down the block. I probably shouldn't say this, but it felt good, like really good. Karen just stood there, dust in her hair, watching as her kingdom crumbled. If you've never seen karma in real time, that's what it looks like. After that, things moved fast. The wedding party sued the HOA for ruining their big day. The HOA tried to turn around and sue me, but the thing is, I had every scrap of paperwork. Permit check, proof of ownership, double check, photos, emails, you name it. The case was so tight the judge probably didn't even need to finish his coffee. The HOA had to cough up a massive settlement to the ruined wedding party. It nearly wiped out their budget. Karen. She got voted out so fast, I don't think she had time to finish her victory speech. The new board sent me an actual written apology on official paper with an embossed seal and everything. I might have framed it. Not gonna lie. You know what the best part is? My backyard's never looked better. No more ugly shed. No more wedding tents. Just me, my grass, and the occasional squirrel. Sometimes you really do have to fight fire with a bulldozer. Looking back, there's this thing I keep thinking about, how quick people are to push their own interests, their own traditions onto someone else just because they can. You ever have that moment where you realize nobody's going to fight for your space, but I learned that the hard way. But I also learned sometimes you have more power than you think. All it takes is a permit. And a bulldozer. So let me ask you this. Where's the line between standing up for yourself and becoming the villain in someone else's story? Was I right, or just as bad as the people I was fighting against? Ever had to take matters into your own hands? Maybe not with heavy machinery, but something close. Tell me about it. I want to know where you'd draw the line.